This talk is about how I got behind the scenes of Iran versus Iraq whilst I was a student in Bristol by simply writing a letter, and that's the issue really. We too often talk about things and we don't actually do them. I walked past this fountain at my old law firm for 4 years before I plucked up the courage to have a swim, and generally when I'm nervous about something, I think back to the time when I wrote a letter to the Iranian authorities after seeing the fixture pop up on the FIFA website, Iran versus Iraq. It blew my mind. I didn't think I could possibly go there until I wrote a letter. These countries had been at war for most of the 80s, but they had a World Cup showdown in Tehran, and it stood out above that City v Rovers fixture. All I knew about Iran was its fearsome reputation in the press, really, the Western press. This man, Ayatollah Khomeini, who led the Islamic Revolution shortly after Iran's first appearance in the World Cup in '78. But I'd also heard about the immaculate hospitality of the Iranian people and those spectacular moustaches as well. So I wrote a letter to the Football Federation, a speculative letter asking if I could go and make a spurious film. And then I got a call from my mum. She said, "Andrew, there's a letter here from the Islamic Republic of Iran. What are you up to?" The letter said, come and say hello. So with my friend Matt, we travelled overland through Europe, through Russia and Turkey on buses and trains. We tried to catch a plane to cross the Black Sea when we were running behind time, but it was shot down by a stray Ukrainian missile. I kid you not. So we got to Tehran a little bit late, but 2 days before the big match, the FA welcomed us with open arms. This man in the middle here, Mr. Husseini, was remarkably friendly, and he made us a number of cups of tea and just wanted to talk about our story. But because we were foreigners, we had to go through the Ministry of Guidance to get passes, and that took a while. These are the guys who ran the hotel where we stayed. They woke us up at midnight on our first day so we could play football in the streets. That was the only time they were clear, and that was their green field. And they insisted that we wear our England shirts as well, despite the politics. This was a month after September 11th. The man in the middle here is Jeffrey. He's from the FA, and he handed us the magic passes after 2 days of waiting and going through red tape. He also organised over the next couple of days for us to do some amazing things, such as play football with the Iranian futsal team, which is why I look a bit like a beetroot. But he also talked us through the cultural changes Iran was going through and how qualification for a World Cup would further open up the country and the people's hopes for that. The night before the game itself, at 10 p.m, after inviting us to dinner with the referees at a five-star hotel, he drove us to the team's hotel, and we met the man on the left, Ali Karami, who was the David Beckham of Iran at the time, which blew my mind. And this was the night before the game. This is the game. This is the Azadi Stadium. It's one of the most hostile football stadiums in world football. It holds 100,000 screaming Iranians, and at this time there were no women and no away fans allowed. It was quite remarkable. This is us. We're in the bottom of the bear fit, frankly shitting myself at the time. The kickoff came though. Well, the teams came out. The noise from this stadium was absolutely ridiculous. The main chant from the fans is, "What will Iran do to you? Iran will put holes in you." But the noise dropped to an eerie silence just before kickoff when they had a recital from the Holy Quran, which is echoed then by the crowd. But then that roar returned at the start of the match. And Madavakia here opened the scoring for Iran. Iran had to win. This was all about the World Cup. He opened the scoring. The place went absolutely mental. But then the worst thing happened. Iraq equalised. Ali Karami's head went down. You can see us in the background there shitting ourselves again. Suddenly the place wasn't quite as friendly. A man next to me got down on his knees and started praying. It meant that much to him. And his prayers were answered. Madavakia broke down the wing again. He squared the ball to our friend Ali Karami, who slammed it in the back of the net. Iran were winning 2-1. They held on. They got to the end of the match. We had the night of our lives. And all this was because I wrote a speculative letter. And our experience, two Englishmen behind the scenes at Iran versus Iraq, when we really shouldn't have been there, stemmed from the fact that I wrote that letter. So if you have an idea, however crazy it might be, pick up a phone, pick up your pen, write a letter, make it happen. You might just line up an audience with Pele or whoever you wish it to be. And then you can come back and do an Ignite talk about it. Thank you very much.